to the cast reunion of the Marvelous Wonderettes. I am Sandy Bremer. I was the director and choreographer of the Marvelous Wonderettes, and I've done a couple other things at the theater, but I am so super excited. I can't wait for y'all to see everybody. We're all back, but I just wanted to tell you a little bit about it before we get there, just in case you were one of the people, just one, who didn't get to see the Marvelous Wonderettes. We did the original Marvelous Wonderettes, we did in 2010. Can you believe it? It was 10 years ago. And then we came back the following Christmas holiday season with the Winter Wonderettes. That was in 2011. And then we waited a little while, gave them a little bit of break, and came back in 2018 with the Marvelous Wonderettes Dream On. So this series, it was written by Roger Bean. They're called a jukebox musical, so it's really dependent on the music. And of course, the music for the Marvelous Wonderettes was pretty spectacular because it was the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. So let me just recap it a little bit. So in case you didn't see it, I can tell you what happened. I can't tell you the whole story because I'd just be here all night. So the original, the Marvelous Wonderettes, Act 1 was took place in 1958 at Springfield High School prom, and the entertainment for the prom that year was the Marvelous Wonderettes. And so we had the four ladies came out and did a lot of shenanigans, I guess you would call them, in 1958 at the prom. And then in Act 2, it was their 10-year reunion, which started in 1968. So in the first act, we had a little taste of the 50s, and in the second act, we had a wonderful taste of the 60s. We came back then in 2011 with Winter Wonderettes, and that was 1968. It took place in Harper's hardware store. And at that time, one of the Wonderettes, Betty Jean, she was in charge of the entertainment, so she brought all the girls back. And so we got to see what had happened to them since that 10-year reunion, which was pretty fun. And then we went on to, in 2018, we did the Marvelous Wonderettes Dream On. That started out in Act 1 in 1969, and it was the retirement party for their favorite teacher, Miss McPherson. And then in Act 2, it was 20-year reunion from 1958 to 1978. So we had the 70s. So that kind of gives you a little recap of what the shows were about. Let me tell you a little bit about the characters. We had Betty Jean. Betty Jean's signature color was green. She is the class clown and a tomboy of the group. She was also best friends with Cindy Lou. Cindy Lou, her signature color is pink, and she was always the prettiest girl at Springfield High. Then we went to Missy. Her signature color is tangerine, not orange, tangerine. She is the overachiever of the group, and she keeps everything in control, and she has a best friend, Suzy, with a signature color of blue. She's the happy-go-lucky, slightly ditzy, and best friends with the lovely Missy. Okay, I'm going to stop talking because you don't want to hear from me anymore. Let's bring them out. Let me introduce you to the original cast of the Marvelous Wonderettes. I'd like to introduce to you the signature tangerine Missy, Miss Deneen Muley Koch. Let's see her. There she is. How are you, honey?
I'm okay.
Excellent. Okay. You look exactly the same, dear heart. So tell us, Deneen, now, in case anybody doesn't know, what else have you done? Maybe tell us a couple of the other things that you've done at Farmers Alley and some of the other things that you do for the community, especially Kalamazoo and just all of us. What you been up to?
Oh, that's a lot. Well, I would say if I'm just going to answer one thing about what I've done at Farmers Alley, it would have to be Bridges, Madison County. That was probably my favorite role that I've ever played. Of course, Missy being second. But Bridges, Madison County is a dream role for me. Something that, when you see something and you think, that was written for me, I can do that.
Absolutely.
So that was a lot of fun. And it was, of course, very, very special to get to be part of Bridges with my family, with Jeremy, my kids, my mom, my dad, and then Fun Home last year, actually, with Karle, which was also really, really special. But I continue to. Go ahead.
Good, Deneen. I mean, going from all those different characters, you've just been able to do so many wonderful things, show us so many different parts and characters. It's just been fantastic. What you been doing during the quarantine? Anything exciting?
Well, if you've been friends with me on Facebook, you know I'm baking a lot of pies. I think I've made 144 pies at this point.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
We've had a couple of those pies. I think I said to you, Deneen, you're killing my diet.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, you look absolutely wonderful. It's so great to see you.
Good to be here.
So I'm going to bring somebody else in, so you're going to probably want to say hello also, okay? So that Ditzy wonderful Suzy, Miss Ann Sanders. Yay! There she is. She's got her gun. Fantastic.
About the same. About the same.
Very nice.
Hi, guys.
So, Ann, tell me, no, you're in New York, correct?
We're in Forest Hills, New York, which, on the news, they kept talking about Elmhurst Hospital. So that's about 20 minutes from us, the epicenter. And it's so much better now because really New Yorkers and everybody is taking heed and wearing their masks, and really felt like a love letter to New York. Everybody just stayed home and did what they needed to do.
Oh, that's so great. I'm glad you're safe. So tell me, now you haven't really been doing much of anything since you left us 10 years ago, correct? Tell us what's been happening.
Well, most recently, I just finished up a run in Frozen, which Deneen and Jeremy were able to come see with their kiddos. And prior to that, I was in Dear Evan Hansen, getting to play one of the moms there, Cynthia Murphy. And I took a leave of absence from Frozen to go do Dear Evan, and came back to Frozen, and we re-teched the show because they wanted to implement new changes. And then during this period, they realized they wouldn't be able to come back with 3 shows. And so via Zoom, we closed our show. And so that was kind of a first for me in the business, and really difficult to not be able to reach out, especially to the kiddos in the show, because they didn't understand what was happening. But we will all get back together again. Theater's been trying to die for years, and it never does. We always come back, and we come back stronger. So I'm so grateful for you guys to be doing things like this, because we need the arts and entertainment more than ever right now. I know I do.
Absolutely. Right. We need to see everybody's face again, too, not only on the screen, but in person. And so hopefully that will happen very soon. All right. So let me bring somebody else in so y'all can say hello. This is our signature green girl, Betty Jean, Miss Sandy Zweer. There she is. Hi, honey.
Hello. Hi. It's good to be here.
Oh, it's so good to see you. So now, Sandy, tell me, you're in Pittsburgh, correct?
I am. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I moved to Pittsburgh just about a year or two after I think we did Wonderettes, and was there for a little bit, then moved to New York. And I did a couple of national tours. I was in the ensemble for Mamma Mia, and then I was Emma Goldman for Ragtime. And then I was exhausted after that. So I decided to go back to Pittsburgh to be with my now fiance. And we've been here ever since, and I've been loving the community here and just really enjoying doing theater here and getting to be with some people that I love. But I miss you all, of course, very much. Yeah. Michigan and Kalamazoo will always be my first home.
Very good. Very good. I was saying earlier, I saw you do a couple things online. You did a spicy eating contest or something, but that cracked me up.
Yeah, I cannot handle spice at all. Like a mild sauce packet from Taco Bell, that's my limit. I've accepted it, but I thought I would exploit it for the entertainment of everybody else. So
you were very brave, very brave. Nice. All right, so let's bring our last lady in. And she was our lovely pink Miss Cindy Lou, Amanda Martin. There she is. Hi. Hello. And Amanda, you're way out in Seattle, correct?
In Seattle, yeah.
Nice.
I think we've been here about 7 years almost.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
So anything special, anything happening out there in Seattle, Washington that you've been up to?
Well, I had baby.
There
3
it
years
is.
ago. And she's amazing, little Hazel.
Very.
Keeps us busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've actually been doing a lot of quartet work since being here. So, all of our quartet.
All your training with the Wonderettes helped that out a little bit.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, you all four look absolutely fantastic. It's so great to see you all again, just in the same platform. It's so lovely. So lovely. All right. So let me introduce you guys to, there they are. Oh, let's do it.
It's backwards.
Love it. Love it. The other thing you have to do is you have to go chipmunk.
Oh, chipmunks.
All right.
No.
It was so fabulous with you all. Oh, you
went to go get.
I brought a little mascot for today, maybe. So
perfect. I love it.
Good find.
Well, let me bring in, so we don't forget, because we've got the other cast. And it was 2018. So let me introduce you to the cast of the Marvelous Wonderettes, Dream On. So first, I'm going to go right there to that green Betty Jean, Miss Whitney Weiner. There she is.
Hi, guys.
How are you, Whitney?
Doing all right.
Great.
Hanging
So
in.
just in case somebody's living under a rock, tell us just maybe like Deneen, she had a couple favorites at Farmers. Do you have any favorites at Farmers that you've done?
Oh, yes. Several. Betty Jean, of course, number 1, not 2.
Nice.
But I did love It Should Have Been You, which we just did the cast reunion, I don't know, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, right.
But I played Jenny Steinberg, and that was my dream role of all time. And that was great. And then Wonderettes. And then after Wonderettes, we did a really cool cabaret for, it was called Does Anybody Have a Map? Songs and Stories in Motherhood. And I got to music direct that, which was really awesome, and perform in it as well. And it was so special. So that was really cool.
Nice. That's wonderful. Yeah, I remember there, and we're thinking possibly if we ever get back, you're going to bring something back from that, right?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's the plan.
Wonderful. Okay. So coming, our other Tangerine Missy, coming to us from Chicago. It's Missy Karle. Where are you? There she is. Hi. How are you?
Well, how are you?
We're great. So you're in Chicago.
Yes.
Anything happened since 2018 in your lifetime there in Chicago?
Yeah. Well, right before we started Wonderettes, I got married. So I went from right from the honeymoon, had like 10 hours, and went right.
That's right. I remember.
Yeah. So it's good. I produced my own concert, which was really fun and challenging, but really great. Done some concerts for some co-workers in New York, which is really fun. And then just taking class during quarantine. I feel like it's the right time to brush up on some skills, and it's been an interesting time for everybody, I think.
Absolutely.
Me focused, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I think you said in an email that there's a possibility that you have a little dog that could possibly bark a little bit during this, so we're supposed to just ignore it, correct?
Yes. She's lovely. She just is an alert barker, and the people next door like to slam the door a lot. So.
That is okay. That's perfectly all right. I think it's Missy, not you, Missy, but as Missy, you take care of that, right, Deneen?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's bring our last little Marvelous Wonderette in. A lovely ditzy Susie, Miss Mallory King. There she is.
Hi, Mallory.
How are you, Mallory?
I'm good. Yeah, doing what I can.
So tell us a little bit. Now, I know that you were in New York. So are you still in New York right now, or where are you? What's happening with you? And as we like to say in Louisville, the quarantine. Where are you been?
So I decided St. Patrick's Day weekend, a friend and I, who grew up in the same hometown, we decided to drive home. Kind of once we just saw that Broadway was closing and everything, and I was out of work because I was a nanny at the time, and they didn't want me taking the subway to watch their kids and everything. So to keep everybody safe, then I was a little anxious about finding work. So I decided to come home and spend time with my parents in Ohio.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm actually working as an essential worker at a grocery store while I'm here full time.
Yeah.
Girl.
But I did have a job lined up, but it's postponed to 2021 now. So I'm really grateful that it's, postponed and not canceled.
That's correct.
I feel
Now,
really, really lucky.
have you been teaching a little bit of dance online also a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually am a virtual teacher with 2 different companies right now. One of them is called Virtual Babysitters Club, which is, it's really awesome. It was started by 2 actors and just a lot of varieties of classes that are taught. And then the other one that is called Four Corners Creative, and we were doing live classes in New York, and I worked for them while I was in New York City, a lot of after-school programs and things like that. So I'm doing a little bit online here and there of what I can make happen, but yeah, I should be returning back to New York in the fall, though, and I'm really looking forward to just, getting back there and seeing some friends and, socially distanced in the park with our masks.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, there's one more Wonderette, but she couldn't join us because she is working. And it was our other Cindy Lou. So, Amanda, you're going to have to hold on because you got to be our only Cindy Lou here at the reunion. But that was Julia Burrows. And I want to say, let's all just say, hi, Julia. Yeah, she wanted to be here so badly, but just couldn't make it. So here we are, everybody. Here's the class reunion or cast reunion for the Marvelous Wonderettes. I think we've got some photos that we can look at now, and I think there's kind of a montage of them, and maybe afterwards we can talk a little bit about maybe something will come up that you'll see that you can give us a little background story. All right. Oh my gosh. I think it's kind of hard when a whole bunch of women get together and we're all like, oh. For me, it's kind of it's so fun to be kind of away from it for me, because when I'm so close to it, I'm just always looking at stuff and trying to figure everything out. And I've always said, if the girls don't hate me by the time they're getting ready to open, I haven't done my job. But when I look at the pictures, you all were so brilliant in bringing these characters to life, right? You all were so real. And I think that was one of the things that made it so wonderful for the audience to watch, that not only were they enjoying the music and how fabulous it was, but these people, these girls, it's an interesting thing. It's a fluffy thing, but these are real. These women were real women with real feelings. And I always felt that you always brought that to the forefront. But let's just talk a little bit about it. If you have anything that you remember, something that was, I was looking, and I guess my first thing that came to me was the wigs that you were all wearing. And right? That was a big part of it. That was a big part of your character, your wigs and your costumes. And it's interesting because my Suzy's, I've got Anne, who was my, dark hair Suzy. And then I've got my other Suzy, which was Mallory. And we knew we can't put Mallory in a dark wig. We've got to put her in a light wig, right? But it did, just change. So tell me a little bit. Now, Annie, you had your bubble gum going there at the beginning of this. And Mallory, I remember telling you got to chew bubble gum, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. I did it. And I was not, sorry, this is live. I was not a gum chewer. And I think it was in one of the songs, it was written in the script that the gum would fly out every night, right, and she would put it back in, like take a beat and like put it back in. And one night, I usually would dust off the clean spot every night. Like, I'm going to land the gum right here. It's clean, and I'm going to pick it up. And this night, it just projectile went all the way, 6 feet, social distance feet away from me. And I thought, I've got to get it. So I went to go get it. And attached to it was like a crouton or a raisin or something. And I just sort of looked at everybody, and and true to the girls and the chemistry that we had, they were just like, yeah, you got to do it. And so I just I ate it and chewed it again, and then finished the song. But I was like, man, what are the odds of it latching onto a crouton?
Oh my gosh. Mallory, you had some instances, didn't you, with gum?
Yeah. I remember, I chewed gum while singing for the first 2 whole songs, and I put it when I was gonna put it in my cheek. And at one point I had a solo, and I decided it would look good. I don't know why I thought it would look good, but I was holding my microphone like this, and before I sang the big line, I spit the gum out in a string and held it while I sang. And it was I don't know, I think I got stuck in my wig the one night, because I remember that backstage I was like, I need help. But I know that I got some of it off, because then I still chewed some of it, because I had to blow bubbles with it later.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. It was everywhere.
Hilarious.
There's water glass was mine, because I had it
I love it. Whitney and I'm not sure, Sandy, you'll have to remind me, because I don't remember. It was 10 years ago. But so Whitney, we had, you were drinking quite heavily during the Dream On. Was Betty G drinking? Was it Winter Wonderettes? Didn't she drink?
I think it was Winter Wonderettes.
Yes, there was a lot of drinking happening, and I remember just appreciating that so much, because I was just constantly sweaty, you guys. Full on sweat, all the time. And so I got to drink from the bottle, because Betty Jean was the drinker, right? But it was water, and so I was like, yes, give it to me. But you guys, as you were just talking about the gum and stuff, what came to my mind was the night that I fell off a tiny stage. I don't know how I did it, but remember we had those giant platform shoes, the Dream On ladies. We had these huge platform shoes, and we had these little steps. And you guys, it was literally the smallest stage possible. I managed to fall off of it one night, and sort of like I just remember the lights, and sort of and I just sort of like I went to do a dance move and I just sort of fell off the stage, and then I think it was Mallory and you were singing, and I remember you sort of looking over like, Betty Jean, are you okay? And I was like, I like crawled back. It was so many things happened during that show that you're just like, I'm on stage the whole time, so I gotta keep going. I may have broken my ankle. It's fine. It's just gonna.
It's very on brand for Betty Jean, So like, if anybody's gonna take a dive, like it's her.
She was doing
absolutely. Absolutely. So, Deneen, you got anything? Anything you remember?
Well, it's funny. Whitney just mentioned the sweating.
So much sweating.
That show, the stamina that we had to build up. I remember when you told us, Sandy, at the beginning of rehearsals, that we were going to learn the show, we were going to learn the beginning, and then the next night we were going to do the beginning and then tack on a little more. And then we were going to start at the beginning and tack on a little more. I remember us all being like, what? How are we going to ever learn the end? Are we ever going to get there? Oh my God, this music is so hard. And it was genius. It was absolutely genius because by the time we learned the end, we knew the beginning so well, and the stamina we had to have for that show. I will never forget when we first got to tech. And we were finally in our costumes and we were finally on the set, and we went out there and did Lollipop for the first time. I swear to God, I thought we were going to die, but somehow we were able to make it through. But the funny story I have about Anne was in Actually, I think it was Winter Wonderettes, now that I'm thinking about it. I'm picturing the set. At one point, Amanda had her solo in Act 2, and there was a moment where Anne and I could be off to the side, sitting relatively still. And of course, not wanting to distract at all from what Amanda was doing, we had to try to wipe our lip and wipe our forehead. And Anne was a genius at it. She'd be like, it was hilarious. It was so funny. We were just there, these little tiny movements while Amanda was singing, all while watching her to give her focus. But it was such a amazing amount of stamina that we needed. And what I think I loved the most, especially about the first one that we did, was being part of a girl group like that. I don't think I had ever felt female camaraderie like that until that show. It was the first time I thought of myself as somebody who could be friends with a group of girls. We had so much fun that first show. It was just love fest. And I'm sure for you Dream On girls, it was exactly the same.
We were very close.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it comes from you knowing that you're all depending on each other, and you're all holding each other up, and you know what I mean? So it's this really great camaraderie of people helping each other. And it's funny, Whitney, you talk about the small stage and then the stamina, and I think during Dream On, we talked a lot about how to get the water, because that particular set was so tiny. Right.
Where can we hide water to hydrate, and find these little moments to go over and just casually, go water down.
Right. And you never leave. You never leave the stage. No, you're on the whole time. Well, I'll tell you what, I want you to tell me a little bit about, before we go in, and we're going to see some video of y'all in action, but it's the audience participation that I think was something you also had to kind of grapple with and handle. I used to say, make sure you guys are, that you don't let anybody else drive the bus. You all are driving the bus. But Missy, I'm going to go to you. Tell me a little bit about something that happened to you, that you got a little letter or something. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So, if you haven't seen the show, there's a moment where Missy is going through it with her husband. She thinks he's cheating on her. So there's all these sad songs. Then she finds out he buys her a house and gets all excited and sings a song. Well, there was one particular guy that night who was actually one of the accountants at Bell's Brewery. And the next day I got this letter, this guy right here, I saved it. And he went in like his own character, playing Bill, talking about how he needed to break up with me. And he went with another girl, Angela. And he wanted the girls to take care of me, Cindy Lou, Suzy, Betty Jean. And they took me to the Dewdrop Inn, which was Bell's. And he gave us some gift cards to have a night out together. I thought that was just so sweet and so clever. I mean, mega fan, I loved it.
That is so wonderful. Was there any other Mr. Lees that were memorable? I think you, original Marvelous Wonderettes, you had some
Well, the late Ted Hartridge was opening night Mr. Lee, both for Marvelous Wonderettes and Winter Wonderettes. And so he'll always be my original favorite Mr. Lee.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember we used
guys.
to peek out of the curtain every night to kind of see who was in that region that you could go sing to. And one night, Steve's Degree was sitting there, and he could not have been more happy that he was going to be Mr. Lee. He just kept, straightening his jacket and buttoning up his tie for you. And it's a really, really sweet memory for me.
Yeah, I think that was for Winter Wonderettes. Didn't he get to wear the Santa hat and sit in the Santa chair? I think that was,
for the Dream On, remember we had so many different people. We had like a Mr. Lee and Mrs. So-and-so, and a cousin of such and such.
Miss McPherson.
Miss McPherson. And I remember, the stage manager and everybody coming backstage beforehand and going, okay, but we had to remember a few people. So there were some times where it was like, okay, this person's over there and there's that one more and there. Okay, great, places and go. And we'd be like, which one is supposed to be this person? And we'd get out there and then you're like,
Right.
Was it this one or was it this one?
And I also think that we wanted to like them. So we were like, nope, it's got to be over there. Whoever's over there has got to be that person. So we had the cue. So you guys, that was hard.
I remember I was just like looking for the light because I looked and that's what it was going to be. And I would just kind of like, oh, yes.
You're like, there you are. Oh, there you are.
Oh, that's the one. That's right. We forgot. Hilarious. Well, I just want to take just a second. I want to see a little bit of y'all in action. I think we're going to do an original, just the original Marvelettes. I always call them Marvelettes. The Wonderettes. Shall we?
1, 2, 3, hey! Look at Mr. Lee. 3, 4, 5, hey! Look at him jive. By my side, can you see that I'm going? Oh, I don't think you can. Oh, see, lots of attention now. Now going for the kill. What you want? A baby, she's got it. What you need? You know she's got it. All she's asking is for a little respect when you come home. Hey, baby, when you come home, just a little bit.
I had chills.
Annie, tell me about that pregnancy pad. How was that?
Oh my gosh. Well, I just remember that we would put on those go-go boots for the second act, but Suzy would not wear both of them. And one night I put both of them on, and I was like, oh, no, I'm not supposed to have this on. So I sat down on the chair to take off one of them, and I fell off the chair and fell on the pregnancy belly. So when I came out, it was like concave, like alien. So I was like, wave, and I was like trying to land on the belly, and then I'm like, I'm punching my child. Yeah, good times. I'm sure.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And those dreaded go-go boots. Those were dreaded in the Dream On cast too. The dreaded go-go boots.
And the character voices. I forgot about all our little character voices.
Missy going out of control. You know what one, and I think you can do it. I mean, I think on YouTube, the Farmer's Alley YouTube channel, Amanda, I think your Son of a Preacher Man is on there.
Whoa.
Yeah, remember? I mean, Karle, come on. You were unbelievable.
Was my favorite song for sure.
Yeah. That
Well,
was,
there was like a sequence. We all had like 3 in a row or something like that, right?
yeah.
Went into
Yeah.
Maybe. I think Maybe was probably my favorite song. I had
Yeah.
never heard that song before.
Yeah.
And I just, yeah, because like I knew pretty much all the other songs, sort of, you know.
Right.
I'd never heard Maybe before.
Yeah.
Truly a beautiful song.
We miss your voice, Amanda.
Nice. Yeah, you know, that was one of the cool things about, I mean, all of them, but really the original with the 58 set have that, you know, lens of the 50s that you guys got to sing in the first act, and then going into the 60s in the second act. I mean, it was really, it was just so much fun to rediscover some of that music, you know, and especially some of it in the fourth part, Harmony for Women.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So I do believe, ladies, on Dream On, we have a little video of y'all too, so we can see that. Let's see what that's all about. Hold on.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.
No, that was
Yay.
Video quality improved.
well, yeah. You know what? 10 years later, or 7 years later, 8 years later, not too bad. Nice. You guys, you just look all gray. Okay, so I want to just talk a little bit, just as a director. Anytime if I'm looking for casting for women or whatever, and they've got the Marvelous Wonderettes on their resume, I know that this particular lady can pretty much handle anything. So I just want to remind you guys of what you had to learn and what you had to do, okay? So in the original, you had to learn 30 different numbers, 30. Most of the time you had 4-part harmony in all of those numbers. Winter Wonderettes, you had to do 25, all right? Dream On, ladies, you were doing 30 also, 30 numbers. So not only did you have to learn 4-part harmony, you had to learn the choreography. Then I always say you had to learn the mic choreography, because you always had to sing into a mic, but then sometimes you didn't always sing in this mic, but you had to move that mic over there while that person moved that mic over there. They had to come back, and so you had to learn that choreography. You had to learn your lines, you had to learn your blocking, and then I think Deneen touched on it, and then you had to learn the order of the show, which I think sometimes was the hardest.
Yeah.
Any memories, anything you want to add to that? I mean, I do remember there were some meltdowns. We had some serious meltdowns.
I think I remember more than anything else, people looking at each other going, is it me?
What's that?
Is it me? Because somebody would instigate the next part and move the microphone or do whatever. And Sandy Zweer, if I'm not mistaken, it was often you.
I feel like it was.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember anything specific about it. I think I must have blacked it out after we.
But yeah, it seemed as though we would just go, Is it me? I started.
Yeah.
I do remember too. I remember being up in, Anne was staying in the apartment across the street when we used to have access to that building. And sometimes we would go over and practice choreography in her apartment. And I remember the girls complaining a lot, not about the choreography in particular, but about the fact that during my set in Act 2, it all had to do with knees. Everything they did had to do with a bob with the knees, and sometimes it was 2 to the right, 2 to the left, and sometimes it was 1, 1. And for all 3 numbers, it was this series of kneeography that I never had to learn. So I was very grateful for that.
Right. Yeah.
I think the Dream On girls, you guys had to learn kneeography too, didn't you?
Yeah.
You had
I
some.
will survive.
I will survive. Goes
That's
down
right.
to 3.
And it was funny because I'd say, okay, well, I can make it easier. No. We got it. Don't change it. Don't change it.
But I can remember that being a problem too, of sort of that, like, yeah, you end a number and you're like, "Duh," and then it's like, now what? Like, what happens now? Like, what's going on? What,
I remember,
who
like,
do we talk to?
for some reason, I think because Missy and I, we were next to each other a lot. I just remember Missy and I looking at each other with these eyes all the time.
What's happening?
Did you find that maybe you didn't, I don't know, but from when you started an opening night, of course there was probably the nerves and and all of it, but then once you got the groove of it, right?
This was like the first show I felt like that me personally, and I remember I'm a choral musician. Like that's, like I'm like used to like learning this music. This was hands down the most challenging show I've ever done. And I just remember, all the different components of like, we got to learn the songs and the choreography and this and that. And my brain just felt, I remember just being like, to answer your question, it was like opening night was the first time that I was like, I am still on opening night going, okay, oh shit, what's my next thing? Like, but yeah, so then I don't remember, we did like a record number of shows for Dream On because it was during the Christmas time, right? And so we did, I don't even know how many shows, but yeah, at some point it finally was like, okay, finally, I got this now. I know what's happening.
You couldn't relax. You really couldn't relax. You had to stay.
Oh yeah, no, you're
it was like getting on a train. It was just like getting on a train, and then you just when you could get off the train, the show was over. I think Dream On, and I could be wrong but I think you guys did 28 performances because I think Winter, I think we did 22, but I could be wrong. I need a fact checker. But.
Well, another thing, it was at that holiday time, so we started like right around Thanksgiving time and went all the way through to New Year's Eve. And I remember you all had to you had to be like nuns during that part. You couldn't talk during the day. You couldn't go anywhere. You never wanted to touch anybody. Remember? Yeah.
Conserve.
We were quarantined
New Year's Eve together.
What was that?
We spent New Year's Eve together, didn't we? That's where we had all those glasses on.
Yeah. That's right.
New Year's Eve.
Right.
That's right. Oh, girls. Unbelievable. Well, like I said, if I see somebody with the Marvelous Wonderettes on their resume, I know for a fact that they can do almost anything.
And I just want to say that our audience never got to see this, you guys, but we all got to see Sandy Bremer doing the moves all the time. Like, that was a show in and of itself that I
and I would always do it bigger so that I would show you guys. And then I turn around and I have 4 women going. And I'm like, it's always supposed to be like this. I'm just showing you, right? Yeah, it was a lot. I do remember. I can recall as I went through. I wanted to go through things. I could recall. Probably I could say something about each one of you at the time. I remember Deneen when you. I remember Sandy when you. It was hilarious. It was so fun. So fun to watch you.
Oh.
You guys were really brilliant. Deneen, tell me something about Missy that you loved and or have incorporated into your life. Missy, I'm coming to you too.
I don't know. I sort of feel like I am Missy in real life. I just remember the signature move when she tried to get everybody's attention. She had the eyes. Eyes. I don't do that in real life. I think people would hate me. But I don't know. I just definitely being the one that's trying to keep everything organized. I take that with me wherever I go. I thought it was fun to play that part and embrace her rather than apologize for being the leader.
Yeah, absolutely. Missy, what about you? I would say to you, I need you to be a little bit stronger, Missy, a little bit stronger.
Oh, yeah. And I'm like, what? No, I thought there were a lot of similarities to my personality too. Just like, I like things in control when I'm in my life, and I just got done planning a wedding. So I'm like, I get that. You want it done this way. But she was really fun and quirky and kind of a little bit crazy, which was kind of fun to inhabit for sure.
Absolutely. Amanda, I'm coming to you. What about Cindy Lou?
I think that. Oh, where'd I go? Oh, there I am. Cindy Lou, for me, I mean, this was like 10 years ago. So, but I think, she had a dark kind of past for me, and she fell in love with kind of the bad boy, and so she had a lot of mixed emotions to navigate, and that's very real. That's everybody. Yeah.
Right. I love the fact that they call her she had a heart of gold.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. She had a heart of gold. All right. I'm going to you, Sandy Zweer. What about the Billie Jean, as I would always call her, so Betty Jean?
Oh gosh, I loved her so much. Yeah. I think we are very similar too, in that I always like to be the one that's just maybe causing like a little bit of trouble and trying to get people to laugh and do that kind of thing. She was just great, and I loved in that photo montage seeing the picture I drew of Judy Carter. I forgot about that whole thing.
I
just made her
definitely have that still.
I'm so glad. I forgot that was such a thing that we all were just like ragging on Judy Carter anymore.
Carter, this made up character.
So many things. Whitney.
Oh, I loved it.
Yes. Well, first of all, I want to say I was the only Wonderette for Dream On that had seen the original Wonderettes. So, right, because none of them had seen it, but I had seen it because I live in Kalamazoo and Farmers Alley, and so it was the cruelest. It was the cruelest thing to be Betty Jean 2.0 to Sandy's Weir. So that was, so that was difficult.
Bless.
But what I loved about Betty Jean was I do relate to the class clown. Make a joke to make things less uncomfortable. I'm totally that person, right? That's gonna make the joke to try to ease the tension. But also in Betty Jean in Dream On, second act especially, she embraces her feminism, and I remember feeling so liberated when I got to sing I Will Survive,
right,
and all that, and it was so empowering, and it was during, and this was just a couple years ago, so it was definitely politically conscious, and I just was feeling that whole feminism vibe, and I just appreciated that about Betty Jean so much.
Yeah,
I wish I could have seen it.
It's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing, and the women in the audience, to watch them, they were just like,
Yes.
All right, Mallory, I'm coming to you. How about that lovely Ditzy Suzy?
I think what I enjoyed was making her more than just Suzy is these things. She's these descriptive words, because I think it's fun to come up with ways that she is smart, and ways that she does have some different quirks to her and things like that. I think that as an actor, I definitely get pegged as those types of characters. So it's fun for me to elaborate on them in my own way. So I had a lot of fun with that. And I felt like I had a lot of audience participation moments for this show. I had to talk to 3 or 4 different people. So I think that also made it really fun for me as an actor. And it was a huge challenge. But yeah.
Nice.
I do want to say, since Julia Burrows is not here, I just want to say for a quick moment, obviously we don't know her experience, but Dream On Girls, if you remember sitting on that step, the third to last song or whatever, listening to Julia sing her little set at the end was just such a special moment for me. And I'm sure, I think we all felt that way because we were just all sort of there for that moment. And it was, and I just remember every night, like sort of looking at Julia with these big, like, just hearing her voice singing was so special.
Were you wiping sweat off your?
No, I was. Actually, it probably was like feathers were probably just like stuck, and I was
Yeah. I think also you were happy because you got to sit down.
Got to sit down. Oh, that was the best.
It was a nice little break.
All right, Annie, I'm coming to you. So you're gonna kind of cap us off here. Well, did you learn anything from that, did Susie?
For sure. And really, truly, thanks to you, because I remember you saying to us in the beginning that really make this a love letter to your parents, because we were a little bit removed from that time period. And whenever I thought about that, our parents loving this music and meeting and dating during that time, it really helped me tap into the real part of Suzy. And I love that she loved to be the peacemaker of everybody. And when she really needed somebody to lean on, she wasn't scared to look to the other girls and say, can you help me? I want to demand respect from my husband. And she realized she needed to, lean on her sisters to help her through. So I definitely carry that with me. We can't go at anything alone. We need our little tribe.
I agree 100%. Ladies, you look fantastic. It is so wonderful to see you all. Let's all do it. We'll do a little chipmunk. Go chipmunks. Now we gotta. Let me see those beautiful faces. Thanks for coming, ladies.
There she is.
So sweet. So great to see you.
There.
I love it. Okay, so I want to say thank you very much to Julie Nimitz for our producer. She's our producer. Thank you, dear heart. And I can't wait to see you all again. Maybe sometime we'll do we were always joking about it during Dream On that maybe they do the old Wonderettes, like when they got old.
Yes.
Please. It might happen.
Please do.
Geriatric
I'm going to do a couple plugs because we've got some other things coming up. So coming up this Thursday, July 16th at 8 p.m., join us for another episode of the Koch Corner. It's starring our artistic director, Jeremy Koch, with special guests, DeWanda Nicole Lampkin and Foxworth from our 2017 production of The Christians. Again, that's on Thursday at 8 o'clock. July 16th, then Sunday, July 19th, our flagship show, Broadway Battles, returns with 3 special guests as they go keyboard to keyboard. Don't miss Liberace's David Mayoko and Murder for Two's Joe Kinogio and Brett Ryback in Broadway Battles, Piano Man edition. Whoop, whoop. Again, that's on Sunday, July 19th. Ladies, it was absolutely fantastic to see you. I love you all. We'll see you back at the theater very soon. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.